Let's continue.
Thank you, Chair. Dorothy, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you. I would like to go back to margin number M18 on page 440, please.
Mr. Pretorius, I'm sorry. I noticed that these two bundles that we are using, or we were using just before lunch, they both have numbers that are more or less the same. So it's important to say which bundle each time we refer to a page. Otherwise, somebody reading the transcript might go to a wrong bundle for a particular reference.
Yes, Chair, you're correct, because bundle 2 is bundle 2A and bundle 2B. So if you could go to bundle 2A, the bundle we've been referring to, Dorothy, at page 440, against the exhibit number in the margin M18. If I could just take you to SSA bundle 1. The documents that form part of M18 are contained there, and I just want to take you to specific pages, please. If you go to page 494.
Okay. Yes.
That's the cover page. So 495 is the request for authorization. It's for Project Maibuya. Do you see that?
Yes.
And it's dated the 28th of October 2016. Sorry, the 26th of October 2016. And on page 496, the signature that you've identified, or a similar one which you've identified, is that of Lily. Do you see that?
Yes.
And it's a request for authorization of that amount which we've seen before of 4.51 million rand. You see that at paragraph 3 of the letter on page 496.
Yes.
Now, we know from other evidence, and you've referred to a written entry on a document earlier this morning, that Project Maibuya involves Operation Justice, Operation Lock, and Operation Commitment. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Now, if you go, please, to page 498 of Bundle 1.
Yes.
There's a series of signatures related to the request for authorization, all recommended. The bottom of page 497, do you recognize that signature right at the bottom?
The green form.
No, page 497. It's not a green form. Page 497, before the green form.
Yes, I do.
Whose signature is that?
Mr. Arthur Fraser.
Right. And then on page 498 at the bottom, it reads, there's a handwritten note reading, funding of the project was approved by the minister. See attached approval. Operational reports must be submitted to, and then I can't read those words, DB01 and DG01, to justify continued expenditure on the project. Do you see that?
Yes.
Did you know that to be correct, that the minister had approved the project, or the funding for the project?
Chair, I don't recall, but no funds can be withdrawn from a particular project without having the project being approved in the first instance. Because this submission is to withdraw funds, but there would have been a submission to establish the project. So I'm assuming this is what Dwayne was talking about.
Right,
It's
that's
the
Dwayne's
bigger
signature.
submission, the principal submission.
Yes, but he's saying funding of the project was
Excuse me?
approved by the minister. Do you know whether that is correct or not?
Yeah.
It is correct.
Dorothy, the question is whether...
I'm not sure.
The question
I'm not
is,
sure, Chair.
the
I
question
can't
is,
100% confirm that it's correct. I don't know.
You go to page 500, please. There's a signature below the words on the green form now,
Yeah.
approval by line management. Whose signature is that? You've identified
Yes.
it before.
Mr. Fraser. Mr. Fraser.
Thank you. And on page 502, under approval of incurred expenses by line management, whose signature is that?
It's my signature.
And then there's an invoice on the next page, 503, professional fees per approved contract, 4,510,000 rand. Do you see that?
Yes.
Right, if we could go back, please, to page 441 of Bundle 2A. You will recall
Yes.
that there was documentation reflecting the approval for withdrawal of 4.51 million rand, and you said a first delivery of cash would have been in the amount of 470,000 rand, and you said you would have made up the difference by a delivery at a later time. Do you recall that evidence?
No, I did not say that.
What did you say?
Can I clarify?
Yes, please.
I said I would have taken that 470 and waited for the difference, which would have been the same particular day, and then took the whole amount.
All right. So you didn't take the amount in two batches. You say you would have taken the amount drawn.
No.
You said you would have taken the full amount of 4.51 million rand. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry I misunderstood you. But I just do, in any event, want to take you to a document provided to the investigators by the SSA. It appears at the back of bundle SSA02. Its page number is 522.137. If you could go there, please. It's a schedule of expenses. It's a schedule.
Which bundle is that?
Bundle 2, the same bundle in which your affidavit appears, but at the end of the file, back of the file. You see there's a schedule.
Which one is that?
It's page 522.137. But it's not the large document, it's a single spreadsheet. It's the first document with that number on it. You see it?
52213.
7.
It's the last document on
Yes.
bundle 2.
Yes.
This is a schedule prepared by the investigators or by the SSA, I'm not sure which, but it is a summary of the temporary advance records of the SSA. And if you look at the dates in the left-hand column and you go down to 8 December 2016, you'll see 2 entries on 8 December 2016.
Yes.
And you look at the right-hand column for Project Maibuya. You see that?
Yes, I see that, yes.
And the 2 amounts are 470,000 Rand and 4,040,000 Rand, which would total the amount that we've spoken about.
Work out to 4.1.
4.1510, yes. So that seems to
Yes, it is. Exactly.
coincide with your evidence that there would have been 2 withdrawals on the same day. Correct?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Now, if we can go on to paragraph 13 of your statement on page 441, please. You say in paragraph, what do you say in paragraph 13.1 regarding deliveries to any person, deliveries of cash?
I can confirm that I have on 3 occasions withdrew 4.5 million by instruction of Mr. Darrell to hand the money over to Minister Mahlobo.
Now, you gave a description of the first occasion next to the entry M19 on page 440 that you delivered cash to Minister Mahlobo. On the other occasions, what did you do? Did you deliver the money personally?
Yes, I delivered the money personally and was accompanied by Lily.
Right. And
maybe let's just, for clarification, get this right, Dorothy. You are not including in the 3 occasions the occasion you talked about earlier where you delivered a bag to Minister Mahlobo, but you had not checked whether there was money inside. You are not including that one, is that correct, or are you including it?
That's excluding it, the 1.5, it's excluding that.
You are excluding that one. Okay, all right. So you have told us about another one where you withdrew the cash yourself and you delivered it to Minister Mahlobo, and you said you found him in his study. So that is the one. So you will tell us about the other 2. Mr. Victorious?
yes, please describe what happened on the other 2 occasions.
Yes. The same would happen. We'd get to the residence, inform the protectors that we are there, and then we'd wait until we get the green light to go into the house. We went in and we went to his study with Lily.
Hang on, Dorothy.
He came, we counted the money.
Hang on, Dorothy. Take one at a time. Tell us about one of the 2 occasions, and then you'll tell us about another one. Tell us about one at a time.
Okay. I spoke about the first occasion. The second occasion, it's the same scenario where I would get to the gate, inform the protectors to inform the minister that I've arrived.
No, hang on,
I would wait in my car and then they
Sorry,
would.
Dorothy, sorry. You see, the earlier one, you told me somebody instructed you to go and withdraw the cash, how much you told us you withdraw through the cash, how much it was, and that you then proceeded on the same day to Minister Mahlobo's residence. Start at the beginning. Whose decision was it? Were you carrying out somebody's instruction? Was it your own decision? And did you withdraw it yourself? How did you carry it? Was it in a bag? And so on. Okay, start.
I understand. Okay. The instruction to withdraw the second amount, 4.5, was given by Daryl. I withdrew the money in my name, went to the cashiers with Lily. The money was counted there by the cashier, packed into the bags, and I would call Minister Mahlobo to say I will be coming. When I get to the house, I would then inform the protectors to inform him that we have arrived. Would wait in the car and then would then get the green light to say we can come in. We'd come in and he would usher us to the study where the money is counted, put back into the bags, and we leave. The second time I was with Lily. The first time when I went, I was alone. And the third time, the same applies. Daryl gave me the instruction to take the money to Minister Mahlobo. I would call him to say that I'm coming, then get to the gate, speak to the protectors, who then in turn inform him. They would come back to me. If I'd wait if he's got meetings. They would then come back and say I could come in, and then Mr. Mahlobo would usher me into his study. The same applies, we'd count the money and then put it back into the bags and leave. On both occasions, on the last two occasions, I was with Lily.
Okay, on the first occasion, you were alone. On the two occasions, you were with Lily. Is that right? And was the amount the same on each of these occasions?
Yes.
And on each occasion, you had been instructed by Daryl. Is that right? Okay, and on each,
Chair.
And on each of the three occasions when you say you delivered money to Minister Mahlobo, you did see the money.
Chair, the money was in my name. I withdrew it in my name. So from the cashiers, it's counted and put into bags. I am there. I signed for it. From there, we get to the house. I then take the money out, count it again to make sure that it is the money that he is expecting. Then I leave.
Yes. And on each occasion, well, you told us about the first occasion that there was not much conversation between yourself and Minister Mahlobo. On the other two occasions, was there a conversation of any kind, or it was just greeting and saying we brought the money or whatever? How did the conversation go?
It's just greeting and that we brought the money, and then we'd count and we'd say thank you and we'd leave.
Okay, all right. Mr. Pretorius.
Thank you, Chair. Dorothy, two questions. In paragraph 13.1, you mention an amount of 4.5 million rand. And on page 440 against the exhibit number M19, you mention 4.51 million rand. Is the amount of 4.5 million rand in paragraph 13.1 correct?
Yes, I'm sorry, Chair, it must have been a typing error. It's 4.51.
And secondly, on any of these three occasions, was any receipt given to you for having received the money?
When I dropped the money off, I did not make Mr. Mahlobo sign anything.
I'm sorry, just to make sure I understand the clarification.
So I'll drop the money off and leave.
Just to make sure I understand the clarification in relation to paragraph 13.2, Dorothy, did you say that where it says 7 million rand in paragraph 13.2 at bundle 2, page 441, it should be 4.5 million rand? Or how should it read?
If I may just explain the question, Chair. The amount of 4.51 million rand appears on page 440.
Oh, okay.
And in the documentation.
Oh, okay.
But in 13.1, it's 4.5 million rand.
Yes.
That is the correction. So if you could confirm that, Dorothy, please.
Okay.
Yes, I'm confirming that it's 4.51 million.
Okay, no, that's all right.
And that is the amount that should appear in paragraph 13.1. Do we understand you correctly?
Yes, Chair.
Right. And in 13.2,
Yes.
you refer to another occasion. What is that occasion?
Which one?
Well, before we go there, I need to ask you just one more question. You say that Mr. Mahlobo didn't give you a receipt for the money, or you didn't request a receipt for the money on any of the 3 occasions that you have now referred to. Did anybody else give you a receipt, a protector or anyone in Mr. Mahlobo's house or anyone else?
Okay. Chair, when I deliver the money, Mr. Mahlobo does not sign for it. I'll deliver it and leave. A week or two, envelope would come, which I'd give to Lily. But I cannot confirm that it's a receipt based on the money that he received, or receipts in terms of whatever activities that money was intended for.
So, do I understand you correctly? You have
But
not...
it was in an envelope.
Do I understand you correctly that you have not seen a receipt for those 3 amounts of 4.51 million rand that you delivered?
No. No.
Then 13.2, you mentioned another incident. What was that?
Sorry to disrupt. Chair, can I ask my learning colleague had asked, even though we will have records, there was a question and answer, and the answer was almost not completed, or at least to my understanding, if I may seek clarity. She testified that a week or two, an envelope will come from Lily. That statement was incompleted when my learning colleague interrupted. I didn't get that, if you may.
Yes, okay, we can clarify. I understood her to say, I think, I don't know whether a week or two, but an envelope would come from, as I understood it, from Minister Mahlobo to Daryl, but she would not have seen whether it contained receipts or not for the money that she would have delivered. Dorothy, is that what you were saying?
Yes, Chair, that's what I was saying.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
Right. If we could get to 13.2. What is the incident there described? You could tell the Chair, please.
Okay. Lily, together with Frank, requested me to take out cash in the amount of 7 million under my name, but nevertheless utilizing the name of this project. The reason for the request was that Frank could not take the money as he had an amount that he needed to clear at finance before he could take further monies.
All right. Do you know what the project was that was the name of the project justifying or the amount or the withdrawal of the amount of 7 million rand?
Yeah, I don't recall, but I'm assuming it would have been under my buoy. Without the documents, I can't really ascertain exactly. But the documents would have reflected my signature in terms of the green, and the attachment would have been related to Frank's activities.
Yes, the question, at least, and that appears at page 423 and 424, seems to indicate, at least from the investigator's point of view, and this we could clarify later, reflects the amount of 7 million rand as being related to Project Maibuye. You see that on page 423 and 424.
423 and 424.
Yes, if you look at the top of
Which
page
bundle?
424.
Oh. Four, 2, 3.
The bottom of the page. You see there's question 12.
Okay, yes, I see. Yes.
And at the
Yes.
top of page 424.
Yes.
You have no reason to think that that is incorrect, do you? I understand from your answer.
No.
Right.
No.
Okay. Now, before you delivered the 4.51 million rand on 3 occasions to Minister Mashlobo, do you know whether such deliveries were made, and if so, who would have made them?
Daryl.
So what did Daryl do?
When Daryl asked me to assist in taking the money when he was acting as a DDG, he said to me he was the one that was taking the money before. So since I'm acting in his position, I should now be the one taking it. But I don't know how many times he took it.
And after your 3 occasions that you delivered money, as you've said, do you know whether the deliveries continued, and if so, by whom?
Chair, I don't have proof that the monies were indeed delivered after my 3 occasions. So I can't honestly and with confidence say that it indeed is true that he was receiving the monies after my 3 deliveries to him.
Okay. We may
I would
come back.
have to have proof to show that he was receiving. So.
Yes. We may return to that issue later in relation to another document, but let's go then to page 424. Once again, the questions that were put to you. Paragraph 13. With regard to any cash withdrawn, and I'm reading the question put to you, and taken to the office or residence of Minister Mashlobo, please indicate for what purpose the money was taken to the minister, by whom the cash was withdrawn, to whom the money was provided, the minister's involvement in operations, and the person to whom the money was dispersed, if any, by the minister or any other person. Now, some of those questions have been answered already, but really the essence of the question that remains is, do you know what the money was intended for, and to whom the money was dispersed, if at all, by the minister or anyone else?
I bear no knowledge what the money was intended for or to whom he was giving the money to.
And does the same apply to the amount of 7 million rand? the two amounts of 6 and 1 million rand respectively?
Yes, Chair. Yes, Chair.
Right.
That amount of 7 million rand, Dorothy, referred to in paragraph 13.2,
Yes, Chair.
did you deliver that money anywhere?
No, I didn't deliver the money anywhere. At the cashiers, once it was signed off by my name, it was taken there.
It was taken by who? Or to where? You know.
Chair, Chair,
Yes. Yes.
Lily and Frank were there.
Oh, okay.
Lily and Frank were there.
Oh, so I was under the impression that they sent you there. So they were there when the money was withdrawn. It was just withdrawn in your name, but they were the ones who were going to need it. Is that
Yes,
right?
Chair.
Okay, all right.
And the reason for this arrangement...
Correct, Chair.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you. And
No,
I
I was agreeing to what the Chair was saying, that it's correct what he said.
Okay, and the reason for that arrangement, Dorothy, as I understand your statement, was that Frank could not draw money because he still had to account or clear money at finance before he could take further monies. Is that correct?
Yes, Chair. Yes, Chair.
All right. In paragraphs 16, 17, and 18 of your affidavit, you refer to amounts relating to Project Hollywood, Project Accurate, stroke Kusela, and Project Tin Roof, right? You say in respect of Project Hollywood that you can't recall this advance and you can't respond meaningfully in the absence of receipts. Do I understand it correctly? Even though you approved it according to the documentation.
Chair, you got cut. Chair, you got cut. I didn't hear a word, just the last part now.
I'm so sorry. All right. If you go to page 442 of bundle SSA 2A.
Yes, that's
paragraph
correct.
16.
Yes.
There's documentation referred to there in relation to Project Hollywood. And it appears that you approved a settlement of 107 million rand, 107,766 rand 96 cents. Do you see that? Approved by yourself.
107,000.
Yes, 766.96. You see that? The figure that appears in the box.
You said 107 million.
Yes, I know, but I was wrong. So I've corrected myself. Maybe that got cut out. It's 107,766
Okay.
rand.
Yes.
Right. Now, according to the documentation, you approved the settlement, but you say you cannot recall that advance, and in the absence of receipts, you can't respond meaningfully. Is that correct?
Yes, Chair. Yes, Chair.
And then in paragraph 17, there is an amount referred to in the documentation of 16,370,000 rand, recommended by Dorothy. We can go to the documents if you like, but you say that you can't recall what Project Accurate was about. That's the project for which the amount was approved, or Project Kusela. Correct? You say you were neither project manager nor participant of Project Kusela.
Yes. Yes.
All right, so you can't really assist in respect of that amount and that project. Safe to say that you really didn't know much about the use of the monies, or the use for which the money were intended. Is that correct?
Just no, Chair. Except for Kusela and the toxicology salaries. That's all.
Okay, so you were involved in the chain of authorization for the withdrawal of the money in relation to Project Hollywood and Project Accurate and Kusela, but you have, as I understand it, very limited knowledge of how that money was used. Is that correct?
Yes, Chair. Yes, Chair.
And does the same apply to the statements made in regard to Project Tin Roof on page 443, where you say in relation to the amount of 3.677 3,677,200 rand, that amount you have limited knowledge of its use, except that it was for Project Tin Roof. Am I correct?
Yes. As I've indicated, I said my role was limited to recommending the submission.
Right. Right. Then in paragraph 19, I would like to ask you to exercise some caution here. In the first 5 lines of paragraph 19, what do you wish to say to the chair?
When you say I must exercise caution in terms of names?
You needn't mention any names, but just deal with the first 5 lines, please, in paragraph 19.
Okay. In December 2017, I was asked by a gentleman.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Assist
you can mention his
him
name.
at
I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you. You can mention that name.
Can I mention the name?
Yes, you can.
Or just the title?
Both.
Okay.
That person is not.
Sorry,
Sorry,
I was asked by Mr. Paul Lang.
Before you go on, Dorothy, sorry, perhaps I'd better check. The person whose name is mentioned in the first line of paragraph 19, he is not an operative or a member of the SSA,
Yeah.
Is he?
No.
All right, so you can mention his name.
Yes. Okay. In December 2017, I was asked by Paul Langer, the head of the ANC security, to assist him at Nazareth. I then advised him to seek permission from my seniors to utilize me. Mr. Langer informed me that he had obtained consent from Mr. Fraser to utilize my services at Nazareth. To protect myself, I wrote a submission to SSA management, who gave me permission to assist the ANC.
Now, without going any further in your document, and I'll explain to the chair why in a moment, did you withdraw any money for these purposes?
Money was for S&T and accommodation for myself.
And was there any other money withdrawn by yourself for the purposes of assisting the ANC at the conference?
No, Chair.
And what did you do? Can you say that, or is that something you shouldn't say?
No, I was assisting the ANC in monitoring the movement of buses that were coming from the provinces, coordinating that movement and checking if there are any glitches along the way and reporting back to them.
All right. The remainder of the paragraph deals with an allegation which I've asked our investigators about. It's an allegation,
Yes.
Chair, which is hearsay upon hearsay, and we have absolutely no confirmation that this was contemplated or done, so I don't feel it appropriate to put it before you.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Can I ask you this question, Dorothy? You say...
Yes, Chair.
You say that you were asked by the head of the ANC security, Mr. Paul Langer, to assist him at Nazareth, and you asked him to seek permission from your seniors to utilize you. And you subsequently wrote a submission to SSA management, who gave you permission to assist the ANC. Was this about assisting the ANC or doing some work for the ANC or the benefit of the ANC, as opposed to doing your normal work as part of SSA?
Okay. Chair, by then when the conference started, I was not doing anything. I was sitting at home, since the activities of SO were stopped by the former Director General. So I wasn't doing anything at home. Hence, Mr. Langer then called me to request me to come and assist them because they had a shortage. But because I'm an employee of SSA, I felt it necessary that I should have authorization to be there.
What I'm trying to establish is whether the work you were doing, whatever it is you were doing that you regarded as assisting the ANC, was not SSA work. You were not were you performing SSA duties?
No.
You were performing non-SSA duties to assist the ANC?
Yes, Chair.
What actually were you doing?
I was coordinating, assisting in the coordinating of the movement of buses. Should there be any glitches along the way, the buses that are coming from the different provinces. So for us to monitor that there's no glitches along the way until they reach.
Yes.
Johannesburg.
You were not,
So we're providing alerts.
Was it some kind of intelligence kind of duty?
No.
No. Was it like
No, Chair.
Was it like what
No.
traffic cops would do? Was it
No,
like
traffic
what
cops,
traffic cops would do?
Traffic cops would lead the buses, but with us is to check if bus number 50 has left Mpumalanga, for example.
So is the position that...
Is everybody on board? Is the bus on it?
So you were doing what a member of the ANC would have done to make sure that the buses departed on time and that they had all departed where they were supposed to depart from, that kind of thing?
Yes, Chair. So I worked with the transport unit.
Transport unit of the ANC?
Yes, yes, Chair.
Okay, all right. Mr. Pretorius? Were you going to be paid by the ANC for that, or what was the position?
No.
You were not going to be paid by the
No.
ANC?
No, I was not going to be paid by the ANC, Chair.
Okay, all right. Mr. Pretorius?
If you'll go please to page 460 of bundle SSA 2A, please, Dorothy.
Yes.
This is another affidavit which appears to have been attested by you. Is it correct that you attested to more than one affidavit for the purposes of the Commission?
Yes.
And if you go to page 468, is that your signature?
Yes.
As far as you are concerned, are the
467. 467 is my signature, not 68.
Yes, you're quite correct. My apologies. 467 is your signature, and the signature of the Commission of Oaths appears on page 468. Is that correct?
Yes.
Good. As far as you're concerned, are the contents of this affidavit true and correct?
Yes.
This will be Exhibit YY 12.2, Chair.
Okay, she confirmed the correctness of the contents.
Yes, and she's drawn my attention to the precise place on page 467 where her signature appears.
Okay, all right. The affidavit of Dorothy that starts at page 460 will be admitted as an exhibit and will be marked as Exhibit YY 12.2.
Now, as I understand it, Dorothy, this affidavit was prepared in response to a Rule 33 notice that you received in respect of the statement or affidavit of Lloyd Mhlanga. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, we're not going to deal in detail with its content, save that I would like you, please, to refer to paragraph 2.2. What do you say there?
I have never told Mr. Lloyd Mhlanga that I had given the alleged cash rolls to Mr. Mahlobo.
All right. And if you could then just read onto the record, please, or just, yes, I think it's important that you read the detail from paragraph 2.3 to paragraph 2.21.
So I'm going to start from 2.3.
Yes, please.
In the absence of schedule. Okay. In the absence of schedules of the cash withdrawals of 4.51 million, I'm only able to recall having done so on 3 occasions.
Sorry, before you
At
go
all
on.
material terms, I made the temporal and... Okay.
I'm sorry, Dorothy, for interrupting you. That 4.5 million rand, do I understand that should read 4.51 million rand?
Yes, yes.
That does that also apply to the amount in paragraph 2 at page 460?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And while we're about it, paragraph 2.21.
Yes.
All right. Apologies for interrupting. If you could continue, please.
Okay. At all material times, I made the temporal advancement in my name. The documents for settlement and preparation for settlement of each temporal advancement was done by my colleague known as Lily in the State Capture Commission. I would sign off the request for the temporary advance in my name, though prepared by Lily, and also sign off the settlement documents in my name, though prepared by Lily too. I would then go to finance section with Lily, and the cashier would count the money in front of me and Lily. Lily always brought the bag where the money would be packed by myself and Lily. The money would then be taken to the official resident in Waterkloof of former Minister Mahlobo. On the first occasion, I delivered it alone. On the second and third occasion, I was accompanied by Lily. I got involved in the cash withdrawal because I was told by Mr. Darrell that I should do so because I'm acting in his position, and he used to do the same and take the money to former Minister Mahlobo. I was acting in the position of Mr. Darrell because he was acting in another senior position.
Please continue.
I was made to inherit all that he used to do and continue to do it. I was specifically instructed by Darrell to agree that my name be used and also to collect and deliver to Minister Mahlobo. At no stage did Darrell or Minister Mahlobo inform me of the purpose and objective of the withdrawal and delivery of the cash. At no stage did Mr. Mahlobo ask me to make the temporary advance withdrawal. At no stage did Darrell or Minister inform me of the objective and ultimate destination of the cash I had to deliver. And as an intelligence officer, one of the cornerstone values of intelligence is always working on a need-to-know basis, only on the need-to-know principle. The environment in which I was working in is COVID operations, and the officers were unknown to many SSA members. On delivery of the money, I would be ushered by them to his home office, where I would remove the money and count it. Having encountered it in front of him and having satisfied himself that it is 4.51 million rand, I would leave the money and the suitcase with him.
All right. You go on in the statement, Dorothy, to talk of an occasion when you were asked to collect firearms from the Musanda Armory. That is the SSA Armory, is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Who gave you that instruction?
Okay. I received a call from a colleague, which I cannot name for obviously operational reasons, on the 28th of January 2015, that I need to come and collect arms and ammunition. I was not aware because nobody had forewarned me that I'm going to be collecting arms. I then called a late colleague of mine, which also can not divulge his name for security reasons, asking him if it indeed is true that I have to collect arms at Musanda. He then confirmed that yes, I am the one that needs to collect by instruction of Mr. Tulani Dlomo. The letter that I have also states a letter that came from Mr. Tulani Dlomo to the security chief directorate requesting for these guns. I then drove to Musanda for collection of those arms and ammunition.
Did you collect the arms and ammunition?
Yes.
And
yes.
Where did you take them?
Okay. I was informed by the late colleague that the VIP protector of Mr. Lomo would come to my house to collect the arms. So I drove home, parked the car in the garage, and waited until he came. I sent him a code to access the place where I stay. He came, opened the boot, assisted him to carry the steel suitcase, and he left.
Right. Is this normal practice for an operative such as yourself to be told to go and collect arms for someone else?
It's definitely not normal, Chair. Hence, I wrote here that driving from Musanda to my home was the longest trip ever, because I'd never been involved in carrying any firearms. So it was the longest trip that I had to take to ensure that the safety of the state's guns are secured at all times until I reach my destination. So it was a bit weird. Hence, I called my late colleague to say, I received a call saying I must fetch guns, but nobody forewarned me about this. And then he responded back to say, no, Mr. Tulami Dloma is the one that instructed that I need to fetch those firearms.
Were the arms collected from you, the arms and ammunition?
Yes, the Mr. Tulani Dloma's protector came that same, within, I don't remember the time, but I know because I sent him a code to access where I stay, to come in and collect.
After this, well, did you have any idea of what the firearms were to be used for?
No, Chair, I had no idea.
Did you later raise this event or the facts related to this event to anybody at SSA, anyone in authority at SSA?
I raised the issue of the firearms with the former DG, Mr. Fraser, and why I did that was word was circulating that Mr. Dloma is leaving, and I was worried that there were firearms that were taken out of Musanda in my name. So I then informed him that there are firearms that are out in my name, and I'm very worried about it. And he instructed that all SO firearms are to be returned.
Right. And were all or some returned?
All they were returned except for, I discovered, I think, earlier this year or late, that there's 3 still outstanding from the batch that I took.
Is that in paragraph 3.19 on page 465?
Yes.
So you say there, I compared the inventory delivered with the inventory of collection. That means the arms you took out and the arms that were returned from Armory Control, and found that 3 pistols and 2 R4 rifles were outstanding. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So what happened in relation to these missing rifles and pistols?
I don't know, but in February this year, I went to a specific police station to do a statement. So there is a case opened in relation to this missing firearms.
You say in your affidavit that you saw a document indicating that 2 more pistols had been recovered, and that outstanding was 1 pistol and 2 R4 rifles. You say that in paragraph 3.26, is that correct?
Yes, I learned that from the police station.
And then you refer to evidence of Ms. K, but you needn't go there. We can get the evidence directly from her. Do you have any training or competency qualification in relation to the handling of firearms?
No, Chair.
Do you know why you were asked to do this collection and delivery?
I have no idea, Chair.
Chair, if you would just bear with me one moment, please. Let's just check that I've dealt with everything.
That's fine.
You've spoken, Dorothy, of 3 occasions on which you delivered 4.51 million rand in relation to Project Maibuya to Minister Mashlobo. Do you know why you stopped taking the money? Whether money was taken after you did it?
I think it's when SO's activities or SO was closed, when we were told that Mr. Fraser's closing SO.
If I could ask you, please, to go to page 522.
Is that on bundle 2?
Bundle SSA 028, yeah? This appears to be
522?
Point 2. SSA 02A 522.2. This is a transcript obtained from the SSA of an interview you had with investigators in an internal investigation at the SSA on the 3rd of July 2019. Do you recognize this? Just have a look at the names and the first page.
Yes.
Did you conduct an interview in the internal investigation at SSA?
Yes.
I don't want to go into too much detail about that, but if you could go to 522.68, please.
Mr. Pretorius?
Chair, I'm just checking. I'm not sure that I need to go to this. Is there any detail here about the Luthuli House incident that would help you recollect the expenditure of monies in relation to the Luthuli House, hashtag Occupy Luthuli House incident. Have a look at those pages. Don't think there is. In fact, if you go to page 522.70, you see that? You were questioned about the Luthuli House matter. And you appear to have said, yes, they signed for this money, we settled and gave finance, finance takes all our things. So the reason for that operation was because the president was there or the deputy president was there? Yes. Or was it for the ANC? The question is, and you say, no, it was for the principal. Who was the principal?
I'm talking about the president and deputy principal.
The president at the
Those
time.
are the principals.
So
that's what we call them.
It was for his protection, was it? That you got MK people there. Is that right?
Chair, the deputy president and the president attend meetings in Luthuli at a specific day. On that specific day, the hashtag Luthuli, people who are going to occupy the building as in inside, and that posed a danger for the two principals, hence we call them principals there. So I'm talking about both president and deputy.
Yes. But the question, I suppose, really is not whether those two persons didn't deserve protection. The question is whether it was appropriate to pay MK veterans to do so. What do you say about that?
Chair, as previously said, Mr. Dlomo, as I've previously stated that Mr. Dlomo would be the best person to answer this question since he is the person that instructed that these people be activated.
Yes, and you do confirm that on page 71. Right. If you'll just bear with me a further moment, Chair. In the same document, would you go to page 522.62, please?
522.62. Mr. Pretorius?
Yes, 522.62. At the top of page 522.62, on the fourth line, in the same interview, internal investigation at SSA, next to the name Dorothy, it reads, "That's the part I forgot to ask, but I can get December, January," she said March. Remember, I don't remember how long. Hence I called her and I asked, "Are you sure about February?" She said no. She said no, February looks like I didn't. And then it was March, I think, last. But then after that, I think it was this girl taking it. What's her name? And name Helen is typed in there. That's not her real name, it's a pseudonym. I met the minister one time and he was like, I don't see you anymore. I said, Minister, I'm busy. He said, I see they send Helen to come. I don't see you anymore. I said, everything is now with Mr. Fraser. What was being said there? Can you explain to the chair?
If you can recall earlier, you asked me this question, and I said to you, I cannot 100% confirm that somebody else was taking the 4.5 to Minister Mahlobo. If you can see the conversation there, he does not say what was brought to him. He just said to me, I don't see you anymore. I see they sent Helen to come. So I don't know what was Helen doing there.
Okay, good. Thank you. And then I must just point out something to you on page 522.63, where the question of receipts is discussed, and the envelope that you said in your evidence came after the delivery. You could just refer, please, to a third down the page of 522.63. It reads, so later on, then an envelope with acknowledgement receipt forms, and then it would be submitted, sent to Lily to do the settlement, or would you do the or would you be settling? That's a question put to you. The answer that Dorothy gives here, I would be settling, but she does the green form and all. And then Demi says to you, that's the interviewer, okay, so you would settle and Ozzy would clear. Ozzy's a pseudonym. Dorothy, yes, remember I was assisting, so she knew I would not take my time and sit on a computer and draft a green form, so she would do it. Demi, okay, have you ever seen the receipts yourself that would come back from the minister? Dorothy, yes, I've seen them, because when I sign, I must go through. I can't just sign a blank. Demi, was it his signature that was there? Would he write his full name as the recipient? Dorothy, I don't remember seeing his name. Demi, so how would those be signed when you say you've seen it? Dorothy, I think the receipts that we get, it's not his signature, it's the people getting those funds. Dorothy, yes, the money receipts of the people that are getting the funds. Can you comment on that, please, and whether it's accurate or not?
Chair, earlier on we were talking about, receipts that the minister would have signed. And I said to you, I have not seen those. Sorry for that.
Yes, you said
We were
that
talking
already.
about receipts that the minister would have signed. And I said to you, I have not seen any receipts that bear the minister's signature. And when I talk about Lily submitting and me going through, it's the invoices or receipts that relate to this company that I would not be able to name.
I see. And you remember that I showed you those receipts.
So my emphasis was on receipt of, excuse me, Chair?
No,
Okay,
let me not interrupt.
Okay, Mr. Pretorius was saying to you, do you remember that he showed you those receipts?
Look at page...
Mr. Mahlobo has never showed me any receipts.
Yeah, you say you didn't see any receipt signed by Mr. Mahlobo, but you may have been referring,
Yes.
and I think you are now referring to a document such as the one on page SSA 01503. Can you confirm that?
Yes.
So is that what you were telling them about on page 522.63?
Yes, yes.
Thank you, that clarifies that.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Dorothy. We have come to the end of your evidence. Once again, we appreciate your availing yourself to try and assist the commission. Thank you very much. You are now excused.
Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you, Dorothy.
Thank you, Mr. Pretorius.
Yes, Mr. Pretorius.
Chair, it's decision-making time. I'm not sure that any purpose would be served by calling a witness for the 20 minutes that we had planned would remain. But may I consult with the investigator?
Yeah.
They may say that it's worthwhile to spend, say, 15 minutes from 1:15
Yeah.
on the next witness.
Do you want me to adjourn or you want to talk?
Well,
Why?
would you adjourn, please, Chair, because the witness would be a witness who needs to take the oath that didn't take the
Oh,
oath this morning.
okay. All right. We'll adjourn for 5 minutes. We adjourn. You have taken instructions, Mr. Pretorius?
Yes, Chair. Because the witness whom we intended to call next would be required to give some detail in his evidence, it would not be advisable to break it up. So if we may, Chair, adjourn and reschedule the other witnesses.
Okay, we'll adjourn for the day then today, and I can't remember which work stream is on Monday, but the public will be notified in due course or over the weekend.
Thank you,
We
Chair.
adjourn.